The pressure of a first Manchester derby, the weight of the Manchester City shirt, and the skeptical eyes of the football world, all fixed on the shoulders of Gianluigi Donnarumma. Just weeks ago, the Italian goalkeeper was a Champions League winner, cast aside by his own club, Paris Saint-Germain, without a hint of sentiment. A prodigious talent, yet branded as outdated in the modern game. And yet, here he was, standing between the posts for Pep Guardiola, the very architect of football's most demanding build-from-the-back philosophy. The derby ended 3-0 to the hosts at the Etihad. But the headlines weren't just about Phil Foden or Erling Haaland getting on the score sheet. No, Donnarumma didn't just keep a clean sheet. He turned the derby into his personal stage, delivering a thunderous reminder of his worth. On 45 minutes, Benjamin Šeško let fly from distance with a venomous strike, but Donnarumma soared across his line to claw it away, a save that drew gasps around the ground. Yet the moment that defined his night came in the second half, with City already 2-0 up. Bryan Mbeumo caught a volley flush, the ball arrowing toward goal like a missile. The stadium froze, and then an outstretched giant's arm, pushing it wide by a whisker. A save that was part reflex, part raw power, part anticipation. A work of art. But perhaps even more telling was what happened next. Joško Gvardiol, Ruben Dias, Rodri, the pillars of City's spine, didn't just jog back into position. They sprinted to Donnarumma, wrapped him in embraces, pounding his chest, roaring their approval. That image was worth more than any statistic. It showed that the Italian giant wasn't just providing security, he was radiating belief, spreading confidence through the entire team. After the match, Pep Guardiola couldn't hide his delight. I liked the save, and then, after that, the reaction from Joško, from Ruben, from Rodri, going there. Every player wants to be loved. All of us. Every team that shares good emotions together, both good and bad moments, start to be a team. Even a Manchester United legend like Peter Schmeichel was moved to tip his hat. Donnarumma has shown exactly why Pep Guardiola has signed him. We've already seen why he is here. They trust him, you can see that. The acclaim for Donnarumma only deepened the paradox of City's decision to sign him. To understand why Pep rolled the dice on this move, you have to go back to where it all began. The departure of an icon. Ederson Moraes wasn't just a goalkeeper, he was a revolution. When Pep Guardiola arrived at Manchester City, he ruthlessly moved on from Joe Hart, a club icon, to bring in Claudio Bravo, and soon after, Ederson. Pep didn't want a mere shot-stopper. The Catalan demanded an 11th outfield player, a deep-lying playmaker wearing gloves. Ederson was the embodiment of that vision. His distribution was unmatched, calmly threading passes through the press, or launching laser-guided balls over the top, dissecting defensive lines with a single swing of his left boot. He even holds the record for assists by a goalkeeper in the Premier League. With Ederson, City were almost always playing with an extra man, so his departure leaves a void, not just in ability, but in ideology. And the man chosen to fill it? Ironically, Gianluigi Donnarumma. A keeper Luis Enrique had just pushed out of PSG for one reason, not fitting his build-from-the-back philosophy. Enrique wanted someone more comfortable on the ball, so he turned to Lucas Chevalier. Donnarumma, the hero who delivered PSG their first Champions League crown, suddenly became surplus to requirements. Why then, of all people, would Pep Guardiola, the architect of the goalkeeper revolution, turn to someone branded as anti-modern? Was he contradicting his own doctrine? The truth lies in Pep's tactical subtlety and his relentless ability to adapt. First, let's be clear. The claim that Donnarumma is bad with the ball at his feet is an exaggeration. He may not be Ederson, but then again, no one is. As Joe Hart once put it, you don't win everything at PSG as a disaster with the ball. The numbers back it up. In League One, Donnarumma posted a strong 85.4% passing accuracy. But dig deeper into the unforgiving pressure cooker of the Champions League, and the picture shifts. His passing accuracy dipped, long ball attempts went up, and his line-breaking passes ranked among the lowest. In other words, under heavy pressure, Donnarumma often chose the safe option. He wasn't the kind of keeper to gamble with a daring pass to unlock a defense, not in the way Ederson so often did. And here lies the crux of it. Pep Guardiola isn't blind to what he's doing. He knows exactly who he's signed. Instead of chasing an imperfect replica of Ederson, Pep chose a different path, to maximize another attribute, one that borders on perfection. If Ederson was a 10 out of 10 with the ball at his feet and an 8 out of 10 as a shot stopper, Donnarumma might be a 7 with his distribution, but a flawless 10 in his goalkeeping instincts. A true monster between the posts. With those telescopic arms, that towering frame, and lightning-fast reflexes, Donnarumma makes the goal feel like a shoebox for opposing strikers. Look at the numbers. Across the last decade since his AC Milan debut, only Jan Oblak and Jan Sommer have prevented more expected goals than Donnarumma in Europe's top 5 leagues. He saved his teams over 40 goals compared to the average keeper. 40. That's a staggering figure, the mark of one of the greatest shot stoppers of his generation. Bringing Donnarumma in is Pep's way of admitting football itself is evolving. He said it himself. Modern football is how teams like Bournemouth, Newcastle, or Liverpool play. It's no longer just about positional play. The Premier League today is sharper, faster, more direct, and often decided in those chaotic, high-speed transitions. In that context, having an almost impenetrable wall in goal isn't just security, it's a weapon. It frees the defenders in front of him. They can push higher, engage harder in duels, knowing that behind them stands a last line of resistance, with a success rate bordering on impossible. What's more, Erling Haaland's presence has shifted City's attacking dynamics. With Ederson, the long balls were often aimed at wingers or midfield runners darting into space. But with Donnarumma, even a lofted clearance that isn't a pinpoint pass instantly becomes a weapon. It's a 50-50 ball, yes, but when the man contesting it is Haaland, the odds tilt dramatically in City's favor. Arsenal under Mikel Arteta have mastered this with David Raya and their front line. Now, Pep's City are adding that very weapon to their arsenal. This, then, is not a step backward in philosophy. It is evolution. Guardiola has recognized that in the reality of modern football, sacrificing a sliver of perfection in build-up play in exchange for absolute dominance in shot-stopping, plus a new, more direct attacking outlet, is a trade worth making. He isn't trying to replace the irreplaceable Ederson. Instead, he has introduced a new strength that makes City more unpredictable, more complete. That dazzling Manchester derby performance was just the opening chapter. It proved that Pep's €35 million gamble is already paying dividends. Donnarumma hasn't come to the Etihad to become Ederson. He's come to be the best version of himself, and in doing so to help City conquer new heights in a new way. The revolution Ederson and Guardiola began will forever be etched into Premier League history. But now a new era has dawned. It may be less graceful in the build-up, but it promises to be more ruthless, more decisive where it matters most, in front of goal. With the Italian giant guarding the fortress, Manchester City may have found their next unbreakable wall. Pep rolled the dice, and he was right. And for the rest of the Premier League, that is a terrifying thought.